Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Building Returns, hosted by Radio W.O.R.K.S. My name is John Stokoe, and my business partner and I, Roger Burrows, founded Source My Property, which is a property development and investment portfolio building firm in South Wales, UK. This radio show is called Building Returns, and it's all about the movers and shakers in the property and real estate industry globally. My role here pretty much is to showcase all of those that are doing things differently, people that are shaking things up and doing things better than everybody else. And I want to be hosting them and showing and sharing their original flavor. Tonight, I have the honor of hosting Stephen Hollings from the United Kingdom. Good evening, Stephen.
Good evening, John. How are we?
Very good, thank you. Very good indeed. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we get into it, before we start tackling the business side of things, Stephen, can you give our listeners a brief background on yourself and your story and how you eventually found yourself in the business doing what you're doing right now?
Okay, it's a pretty conventional career. 20 years in the motor industry. That was with Ford, Volvo, and then latterly 12 years at Honda in the UK and in European roles. So I was flying around Europe every day, which sounds a lot more exotic than it was. It was very hard work. But I got to kind of my mid-40s and I thought, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in one industry, only doing one thing. There was more to life than that. So 2005-ish, I kind of left. With a mutual agreement and a nice handshake. And at that time, they were employing the unemployable, as I said, and I left with the naive opinion that I was a good senior manager. There was a lack of good senior managers in the UK. I would get another job. And lo and behold, 3 months later, I did, and completely different into business services. I actually worked for the largest security company in the UK. So I went from Japanese engineering to manpower security, and it was completely different. And that allowed my brain to start talking about first basics, and it really invigorated my thought processes to a certain extent, because I didn't know the answers. I didn't know the questions to ask. So that was great fun. The downside of business services and contracting is when you're doing well, you're doing very, very well. When you're doing bad, you're sacked. You know, it's very much a hire and fire business. But I had 4 really good years at Reliance Security until we were taken over by Securitas, and then all the directors were removed at a very short period of time with another very generous handshake.
Oh, nice.
A bit of a story coming in here.
They're very kind, aren't they, when they let you?
They're very kind. So I then went to work for a facilities management company, and that was a bit of a disaster, so I left them. And then latterly another security company, at each one getting quite a nice little handshake. Okay. But then it was kind of like 2015, 16, and I was thinking, I've had enough of this. I am not going to be beholden to another big organization that can hire and fire at will. It created me a lot of distress, even though you go, yeah, I like the money. Actually, emotionally, it's a kick in the teeth. However they say it, however they pat you on the back, it is a kick in the teeth, and it's tough. And it's tough on the family. And that's when we thought, and my wife and I have always wanted to work together in a business. Okay. She is enormously gifted, enormously talented, and much brighter than I am, which is really helpful. And we thought if we joined forces together, you know, we could do something really, really powerful. And so we tiptoed into property. And I guess that was sort of 2.5 years ago only.
Wow, okay.
So we bought some training to help us through a company called Legacy, big American training company, well known. And the very simple thing was we wanted to go further, faster. Yeah, we wanted to get to a place.
All about the education. Learn other people's knowledge.
Learn from the best and get there further, faster. So in our first year, we bought 6 houses, which we thought was good. We did as a flip, and made nice £20,000 profit, which paid for all the training. And then the other 5 we had rented out. We ultimately got rid of one down to 4.
Okay.
And then we kind of came to a conclusion, which was a bit worrying, that we'd done quite a lot of work, but we weren't financially free. We weren't independent.
Which is the whole idea behind doing what you were doing.
Yeah, is to be able to sack the boss, be independent, do what you want. We've always had this goal in life. Our definition of financial freedom is probably lower than most. So we want our definition, and the easiest way of putting it is, I want to be able to fly around the world in business class. Right? That's it. I don't want a Ferrari or a yacht or anything like that. But that's kind of my definition of financial freedom. Get out of bed, worry about money, and boom. That was kind of my aim.
Well, the ability to get out of bed and then decide, actually, no, I'm going to get back into bed because you can.
But that's not us. No, that's a big difference. No, we then got another big mission in our life, which is so big that has affected us so much that we're 6 o'clock in the morning every morning. In fact, this morning we were jogging in the rain, in the dark, starting the day off with our exercise, and it hurt, but we got to do this. No, something came into our lives which no one could have predicted and no one would have wanted.
Okay.
And it affected the way we thought, it affected the way we could operate, it affected our time enormously. And that was, we had a very sick daughter.
Yep.
And suddenly I'm going, thank goodness I'm not working for a big organization. I would have had to have resigned. I would have had to come out in order to cope with looking after her. It also opened up some huge issues about her care. And so things were moving really quickly at this stage. We were seeing her care and the problems that was challenging. We were also thinking, we can make a lot of money in property.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of money to be made.
Sure.
So we thought, well, maybe we can link the two together. Maybe we can make a lot of money in property and help people in a similar situation to Fiona. So that became our reason why. And that became our motivation, which is this big. It's huge. It's every waking life.
Family related, and being able to spend time with the family is paramount. But I am familiar with your situation, and I genuinely take my hat off to you for what you're doing and what you're still going to talk about and explain to the viewers about where you are. But that ability to have the time and do with what you want with your time instead of being tied down to that 9-to-5 job is everything. And all the entrepreneurs that I speak to, that is one of the key drivers behind them. Mine is a slightly different story, but yes, similar to yours in that I was a little bit bored of getting severance packages when businesses were merging, etc. And I decided I wanted to take hold of my own destiny. Funny enough, I had also had a medical issue, but it's not about me, it's about you. But yes, the ability to spend time and to wake up in the morning and to take my children to school and to spend time with my family as and when I want is fantastic. So then when I do need to travel overseas, like you and I have done before, it's not so much of a drain on it as it may have done before. So just coming back to you, it's not about me, it's about talking about you, Stephen. So can you just explain to your viewers, that's pretty much your journey up until pretty much where you are-ish now. Can you tell me, in your own words, what your business, the core business, what does your business do now?
Okay, we have a kind of a holding company, if you like, called Apple Property Partners. That's our main funding. That's where we talk to our investors through. But below that, we have two businesses. Okay. The first one, which I'm very proud, I use my mug here to have a quick drink.
Good plan.
My head office. So January last year, we bought a church. It's just north of Rotherham in South Yorkshire, where all of our investment is for reasons which I'm happy to explain. So we bought this Wesleyan church, nice high ceilings, parquet floor, big windows, and we converted it into a business centre. And we put fantastic internet connectivity, and 10 offices were made out of this church. Off-road parking, it is beautiful. Fantastic. But then we had to, that was kind of the property side. But then we had to develop the proposition and how we were going to fill it and who was going to take it and all this sort of thing. And we identified a sector of the market where if you go into big business centers or big offices, you can get an office for 20 people, 30 people. Yeah, they stick, they're difficult to rent out. But the ones that go really quickly with all the business centers are the small ones. So our business center has, the biggest one will have 4 people. There are about 3 or 4 with 3 people, and the rest are 2s and 1s. Really small. So it's for people moving, and this is why we created the brand of my head office, to people moving from their home office to their head office. And it was one of my alleluia moments. I was thinking, how do I make an office sound aspirational? And I thought, well, if you go to the head office, you think I'm going up to see I'm going to the head office. So we created the brand of my head office. And these are small units for people. And what we're finding the trigger is people who are recruiting their first employee. So they've been working in their bedrooms and they suddenly realize, I can't bring a new employee to my bedroom, which is, so that seems to be the trigger.
So you think, out in the market, you're saying generally there isn't a lot in the market of what you have, and most of them are sort of 10, 20 people and above type of offices. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, 10 plus is kind of the core. There are a few small offices, but they tend to get taken out and occupied really quickly. And actually, a lot of the leads come from other business centers who can satisfy customers.
So fantastic demand and not enough supply.
Correct. The other thing we did, which was the unique bit, because we've as you know, we get coaching and training and whatever in helping to shape our business model. Is what do we do that's really different? What do we do that no one else does? Because you're not for a small office, but that's great. Other people have small offices. What do we do that's really different and stands out? And what we do, unlike any other, is we offer coaching, mentoring, and support. So we've turned the business model on its head. And our mantra is we want our tenants to be successful. We want successful tenants.
So is this the second arm of the business then, Stephen? Because you're talking about the property side, and is coaching and training the other arm?
Yeah, we don't charge for it, in fairness. It's an interesting one. At the moment, you come in and we've got direct relationships with the Chamber of Commerce, Federation of Small Business, RIDO, which is a local government-supported thing, the finance for industry, for business, and we just introduce them. We hold networking events and we get them up and running and talking, and we just give them advice and point them in directions of where they could boost their business. It's as simple as that. No one else does it. It's a simple business.
That's awesome. And you're stealing my next questions there, because I was going to ask you, what is your USP? What sets you apart from everybody else in your industry?
I think it's training and we don't, it's more mentoring than coaching, because coaching is more about showing them how to do it, holding them accountable and really getting involved in it. For us, it's more around mentoring, which is steering them in the right direction and seeing what their weaknesses are and seeing how we can help them. Okay.
So you're talking about this as, again, it's the individuals or mum and pop that have left their daughter's bedroom or their shed, and they're expanding. Now that's really interesting. Now, why would you say that is important to your business?
What is the?
No, why would you say that that mantra or that USP is important to your business?
The whole position that we've got for the business.
Yes.
It's about appealing, because we're not the cheapest, and that's really important. We are not the cheapest. If you want a cheap office, you can get less expensive than ours. What you won't get is the whole package, the whole support to make sure you're successful. So I've not done this, but one I thought was, if we don't grow your business by enough to pay for your rent, then you can leave. Or you can have it rent free. Would be almost take it to the ultimate extreme. I've not done that yet, but that's kind of part of my thought process, is how we can make it a proposition that is utterly irrefutable, and say, what, you mean you'll grow my business by the amount of the rent in profit every month? Yes. Well, that's a win-win, isn't it?
Absolutely. And win-wins is what it's all about. I think that's fantastic. I mean, my personal belief is, irrespective of who you are, you do need some form of training, whether you're massive or small, but I think your 1, 2, and 3 man shops are the ones that are potentially getting out there and potentially have the possibility of making more mistakes because they haven't been doing it for long enough. So your guidance along the line is fundamental and key to ensure their success. And again, the last thing you want is somebody going out of business, not paying you rent, and then getting
an ulterior motive to all of this. I understand. So that's the win-win. But also remember, we've moved into the area because we don't live in the area where the business centre is. We've made all the mistakes, the contacts, the things, the hard way. So we can bring a shortcut to all of our tenants. Say, well, you need to talk to him, her, whatever. We can bring those shortcuts, and that means that we can get, as I said, right from in, get further faster.
Fantastic. Can you elaborate on your business structure? You mentioned about the 2 arms, and who else is involved in your businesses?
Okay, so can I just talk about the other business bit we do as well, and that will bring that in as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah? So the other bit we've got, which is, I had a few sleepless nights over this one, but we've created a brand called Hollings Homes. So I'm Stephen Hollings, and I thought if I'm going to build houses, and one of the things that we always do, if it's buy-to-let, business centre, houses, they're at the top end of the market. They're all at the top end. So even our buy-to-lets, which we rent for a little bit of money, they're all really good quality houses.
Good.
So we got into buying. We bought, the week after we bought the church, we bought a bungalow. And we've demolished it. We've got planning permission for 2 5-bedroom executive homes, which will sell. All in, both of them, we will get 1.5 million for them. Not each, for both. Okay?
So high-end stuff.
High-end stuff. So we have made the houses, so the first floor is solid concrete. So there's no noise. We've put underfloor heating throughout, no radiators. We spent nearly £40,000 on each kitchen to go into the houses. They are beautiful. They are hand painted after they're installed to the colour that you choose. They're absolutely immaculate. And then the views from the houses are across the Yorkshire Dales to Ripley Castle. They're absolutely beautiful. And we are going to build some stunning houses. And they had to be, because my name was going to be on the sailboat. So if you're going to do that, be brave, go up market. And we basically pushed the envelope to make them as luxurious. So they've got 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Okay. So they're very, very luxurious houses. Now, how do we do this? How do we fund all this? How do I go from 4 buy-to-lets to a business centre? Really good question. We have 2 really different ways, well, probably 3 different ways of funding in reality. If we take the new build program up here near Harrogate, we bought that without our money. None of our money went into that project to buy it. We worked with an angel who, when they came up,
what an angel is and how they work. What an angel is and how they work.
Sorry, an angel we had worked with on our buy-to-lets and our flip. They lend us money at 10% per annum, and they are people of high net worth that have a chunk of money that's earning nothing in the banks, nothing in the building societies, and we'll say, well, we'll take it off you for 6 months, 9 months, a year, and we'll pay you at the rate of 10%. Okay. And we've done this on our flip. You know, I talked about the flip where we earn the 20,000 to pay for the fees. And our angel had lent us 80,000 to do that. We came back to this and we paid them back with interest. One thing that's really important, if you borrow money, pay it back on time with interest. There are no excuses. The moment you don't do that, your business model finishes. It is really, really critical. So when we went back to the same angel and said, look, we don't need 80,000 this time. We're actually looking for 340. I'm sure you can't do it, but we need a lot of money. And they went, we think we can do that, all of it. That changed our business model. That changed our lives, to be honest. So we made them partners. So we brought them in and said, we're not going to pay you 10%. We're going to pay you a percentage of the profit from the build. They will earn near on 50% return.
That's fantastic.
But without that, we couldn't have done what we're doing. So they've earned it, they're happy, and we're happy. So that is a partner. They're coming in with a lot of money. Now, we've then got to build them, which costs about £600,000.
Okay.
The two houses. How do we fund them?
What's your cost per square meter up north?
Do you know? I don't know that figure.
Okay.
I do not know that figure because I've not been looking at that as the way we and I'll explain.
Do you know what your square foot or square meterage is of both the units?
They're around 2,000 square foot, 2,300 square foot.
So that's give or take 230. So that's 500 square meters approximately. It's costing you 600,000 to build. So that's about 1,200 per square meter, which is about right. London, you pay 1,500 to 2,000. In your outlying areas, it gets less, down to in your very remote areas where you've got cheap builders, maybe £1,000 a square meter. So £1,200 a square meter, you're about bang on for the area we are.
For a quality house, we're happy. I'll explain how we're building it.
That's the difference as well. It's, in London, you can pay 1,500 or you can pay 2,000 for the same size place, but it's the quality of your finish. So you're doing really well at 1,200.
That's going to be the test. Well, I'll come and explain how we're building it because it is a bit different. So go back to the funding. So we've got the business partner. Then, so I need £600,000 to build this, and I'm not going to put my own money in. I don't. Other people's money is a mantra. It's also for this volume a bit. You need money to oil the wheels, so you do need a little. It's not zero, but the scale of things, it's tiny. So we wrote to friends and family that we know, that respect us, that know our journey, know what we've been doing, that some of we've been kind of targeting on our journey to keep them informed of what we're doing, and said, look, this is where we are. We need to borrow a chunk of money. We are prepared to pay you 10%. If you choose to do it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. We can work this out any way you like. And we raised nearly half the bill cost.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Friends and family charging that.
Wow.
So then we've got a gap. And how do we close that gap? We go to the commercial arms.
Fine, fair enough.
Commercial loan, fair enough. Now, interestingly, we went to the big banks, not to name one, but there's one in most high streets, and we taught them through they look at the ratios from the profit and all that sort of stuff, and the bill cost, and I said, look, this is a no-brainer. This is absolute. We are going to win on this. This is so safe. To say it's the safest houses would be an exaggeration. It's a very, very safe. And they went, yeah, we can see that. We can see that. Yeah, really good, Stephen. Yeah. Have you ever done this before? There's the immortal question. I went, and I said, you see these hands? These hands don't build houses. So I said, look, I'm not going to build it. I've got a project manager on board. I've got an architect. I've got a CDM. I've got all these people on board. I've got, and builders as well. I've got hundreds of years of experience. I'm not going to build it. I'm going to arrange it and arrange the funding, all that sort of thing. We can't lend. So the main street banks wouldn't lend.
So you're going
enough now. Enough other sources of income, as you know. So we were able to source that, and that was all signed off in early December. And we're now on a drawdown. Wherever we need more money, we draw it down. And we just draw down today another 45,000.
So when do you break ground?
We've broken ground.
Oh, okay.
I have to say, in my career, I've done some crazy stuff, right? I've been around Japan and Detroit and all sorts of crazy stuff, right? Building your own house, digging the foundations, watching the concrete going in, doing all that is the most thrilling thing I have ever done in my career. I absolutely adore it. We're on site every week. I have a project manager there every day, clearly, but we go there every week. It is the highlight of my week. I'm always up there asking questions about why that's so big, why this, why that, why the other. The houses are, as I said, they're all concrete. These are going to last a millennium. There is no doubt about that. They're block and render, so they're going to be rendered on the outside. Champagne color, which is what we needed. And then they've got anthracite windows and they're just going to look absolutely stunning when they're done. But what I didn't do was go to a build company to take it off my hands and build it.
Okay.
I went, okay, so I could have gone to a one contract to a contractor and said, this is the spec, build it.
Okay.
I had a couple of quotes and they were kind of like, that's a bit high. So what I did was I recruited the guy who developed our first buy-to-let, and our second and our third and our fourth and our fifth and our sixth, and did the church.
Fine,
He's now
yes.
project manager on site. So he's on our 8th and 9th project for us.
Good, so you know how to work with him.
It's fantastic, a good trusting relationship. He understands the quality, he understands what we're trying to achieve. He makes sure all the materials arrive on site at the right time. The build team who are building it, all they have to do is pick up the next brick, next block, put it on, keep going, crack that bit, crack that bit. But the cost to us of doing it that way, so we are buying all the materials through a builder's merchant, and we're sourcing labor separately. Yeah. We have a detailed spreadsheet. We know exactly what we're buying, exactly what labor. We have a weekly reconciliation and a weekly cash flow plan. To say the devil is in the detail, we are all over this like a rash. So we know exactly where every penny is being spent and where every saving is being made. And so far, touch wood, it's going very, very well. So we're now up to talking about exciting things. The roof trusses went onto the houses just before Christmas, and by the end of the week after next, the roof will be finished and the windows will be in and it's dry.
That's very quick. That's very good.
We started mid-August.
Okay. All right. Now, just to take the question I asked a little bit earlier was, who else is involved in the business, in the family, and what is the business? You mentioned the business structure, the two businesses. Who's involved with you? How many?
At the moment, it's my wife and myself. It's a two-party business.
Okay.
Now, if I talk about our reason why, you'll see how we're probably going to have to bring people in because we are spinning so many plates. Is that okay if I talk a little bit about that?
I think we're at the right time then. Obviously, a reason why and not what we're doing, but why we're doing things is vitally important. I know you're madly passionate about what you're doing, and it's going to be very clear in the next few minutes to the viewers. So yes, please share your story.
Okay. And I would say to anyone I speak to, if you haven't got a reason why that really gets you there, you will fail. It's interesting. I was talking to someone recently about the number of diets and exercise plans there are in this world. There are 1,000 diets and 1,000 exercise plans. And why by the 10th of January have they all failed? And they've all failed because you haven't got a reason why.
Yeah, you don't want it badly enough.
You get your reason why. And for us, it's huge. Okay, so we had a horrendous experience with our daughter who suffered from mental health issues as she turned 18. In the UK, we have a thing called the CAMS, which is Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service, which is relatively, where we live, well funded.
Okay.
And she was in a unit when she turned 18. The day after she turned 18, they're going, we can't care for you anymore here. You're not wanted here. We're going to take you out. And they dropped her in a general psychiatric ward in Aylesbury, where the average age of the occupant was twice her age. She was scared. It was just a horrendous time for us, let alone her. She kind of recovered. We got her home.
How long ago was this, Stephen?
Sorry?
How long ago was this?
This was May 2 years ago.
Okay.
Hence, 20 now. She's 20. She'll be 21 this year.
Hence the big kick in your motivation and drive.
The timing was, it just begged us to recognize this. Okay. So we thought two things. Firstly, we thought, well, the care's not good enough. And basically, they turn off the budget. In the UK, the care for people with mental health issues, the moment you turn 18, is appalling. And our big driver is that the brain doesn't mature until you're 25, 26.
Sure.
So why does the care that you should be getting stop at 18? It is just outrageous. In Australia, mental health care tends to go through to your 25, and they've got a better plan there. So one of our drivers is publicity. So we've been on ITN, Sky, Good Morning Britain with Jeremy Hunt, Radio 5 Live, Sunday Times, talking about the challenges that 18-year-olds plus have getting care in this country. So we had this hurt, and it is a hurt. And Fiona is in a unit today in Glasgow. She's in Glasgow. We live in High Wycombe, and for those that don't know, that's 400 miles from where we live. And she's in her unit in Glasgow because for a 6-week period, in what are we now? 2018, 2016, there were no beds. There were no beds in England and Wales for a 6-week period. And we nearly lost her because there was no one that had the skills, the knowledge, and the experience that could look after her in England and Wales. It was a horrendous time. And that's when we reached out on the publicity because we were just desperate. And eventually she gets a bed in Glasgow, and we go, thank God, she's not going to die. And we get her to Glasgow. And it's a very emotional, it's very raw, it still hurts today. And she's still there today, 18 months later. But they are caring for her so well, we don't want her to move back. We're happy where she is now, but the care, the process to get to where she is has been so bad. And you hear of so many people not getting that care. So we set about ourselves. We said, right, we're going to, you can either, in life, you either complain about it or you can do something about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we've always been the latter. And I'll give you an example of Julia, my wonderful wife, that, you know, at the school gates when you're waiting to get your kids and they're all complaining about the school. And she said, look, you can either shut up or do something, shut up and do something about it. Or what was the expression? Yeah, put up or shut up. So she said, I'm going to become a school governor. So she became a school governor and started to change the school, you know, and that's kind of the way we are.
Okay.
So we set about setting up we're still framing the legality because it's not a charity because it'll be trading, so there'll be all sorts of things that we'll be working through, but it's going to have 4 aspects to it. Number 1 is some kind of residential unit or daycare center, so people coming out of a unit can come for support. 2, support for families. 3 is a training, and I call this a world-class training center. There aren't enough nurses trained in mental health care.
Okay.
And we've got some really exciting plans there. And the 4th bit is purely political. It is changing the attitudes of our politicians and releasing the budget into the mental health care for 18 to 25-year-olds. And that is doable, absolutely doable. Absolutely. So that's our reason why. And ultimately, where do we want to be? So we've learned a lot building these houses, and we can make some money building houses. So our aim this year is to have 2 in parallel, dropping chunks of money. Okay. Each time it drops a chunk of money, it goes to the charity. Okay. To the charity. And we want to build a cash machine. And we're happy to put in the effort, put in the work. We're kind of, you know, we'll survive and then build it. And then we can underpin something that will make a difference to 18 to 25-year-olds in this country. That is what we want to do. And you know what? I used to be really nervous about talking about this, surprisingly, and I would never share it in business. But I talk to our builders about it. I talk to the building suppliers about it. I talk to everyone about it in business. And the thing that has surprised me more than anything is when I talk about Fiona and the challenges we've had, almost without exception, they'll come back and say, my wife, my daughter, my friend, they will know someone who's been affected.
Sure. Because
it's a lot more prevalent than people know because people don't talk about it.
Yeah, so that's very sad.
Part of what we do is we talk about it. And that's, we were into, because I talk to other parents with anorexic children and they're going, I won't talk. I don't want to talk. I don't want to have my daughter branded. I don't want to. And I understand that entirely. We made a different decision. We decided it would become our driving force, all with Fiona's permission, I have to say, all with Fiona's permission.
Good. Yeah.
So this is where just one final couple of things just to talk about is we got in there. Is last year was an amazing year for us, and it was topped off by us winning 2 awards. We won an award from the Legacy training group in the Savoy in London, and we won an award from JT Fox in Los Angeles. And I've told them both I feel a bit of a fraud, because they went, you know, with what you've had to put up with, thousands of miles you put in to see your daughter, and we go out there every other weekend, you know, we put it in and we're on the phone for at least an hour every day, and fine. And you know, here's an award because you kept going and you've done the business center and you built the boat and you're going to build a hospital and haven't you done well and we kind of 2 things. One is, if I'm honest, that's how I've survived. That's my survival technique. Is I dive into work, I keep myself busy up here, because if I just sat back and wallowed in it, I'd be a wreck by now. It's my survival mechanism. But then you think it's your survival mechanism and you can do some good. That is spot on. That is fantastic. So we are going to change the world, which is a small ambition. But if you don't go for the world, you know, what else can you go for?
Well, based on the last 2 and a bit years progression, starting with very little, if at all, experience within building properties, you're now doing top of the range, high end, £1 million developments. You're crossing over into hospitals, building hospitals. You've got business centers. You are achieving, and this is why, and I'm involved with both of those other organizations you mentioned, and this is why you are standing out, and why little me on my little radio station, why I wanted to bring you onto this radio station. You are doing phenomenally well, and it's, you know, it is so commendable. It is such a phenomenal story to listen to, that others, I needed to showcase it. I wanted to put your message out there. I want others to learn from you, what you and your family have achieved. You've got a massive driver behind it, which is just pushing you further and further. I don't believe you are comfortable unless you are uncomfortable. Because
that's right. I've learned to be uncomfortable. Yeah, sure.
You keep pushing the boundary. If you stick within the realms of what you believe is possible, you won't achieve. I mean, you go back 2.5 years' time. If you said building hospitals, we're changing the world, we're changing the government, we're building £1 million homes, people won't believe it. And this is another one of the messages I want to share with this radio station, with this cast, is no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, anything is possible if you set your mind to it and you have a strong enough reason. You will achieve it. If you put that vision strongly in your mind and you put the right people behind you, there's absolutely no reason why you can't get there. A lot of people at this juncture will turn around and say, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. You've explained firsthand how you've done that with virtually none of your own money. Builds a phenomenal portfolio. Most people are content with buying 1 or 2 little buy-to-lets. No, not Stephen Hollings. He's doing hospitals. He's doing, you know, multi-million pound developments. He's doing business centers, all within 2.5 years. So from my side, Stephen, to you and your family, honestly, seriously commendable, and my heart honestly goes out to you. And I wish you the very, very best. And don't worry, I'm not signing you off right now. I'm just telling you from my heart the way I feel about it.
Thank you.
So,
yeah,
no problem.
Can I just one thing? In our business center, we put some quotes on the wall, sort of motivational quotes, you know. And I'm a Nido Qubein fan. This was my Christmas reading. Can you read that?
Yes, I can. That's an absolute
stunning book. So I have, and he has this wonderful quote that I almost had to lie down and think about it. He said, "Become the person you already are." You know.
I believe you have to visualize it first within your mind.
Yeah.
And visualize it clearly, and you've become that within your mind. Only then can you achieve it. Because I don't believe, unless the picture's in your mind, how do you know where to go? Unless you know your destination, how do you know that you want to get there? And your drive and your definition behind that is fantastically strong.
And one lesson I got, which really was the kick up our backside.
Yeah.
I was asked by one of our coaches, said, why are you doing all this? What does the hospital look like? And I went, it's simple. It's this, and I could draw it, and I've got the ponds, and it's seared in my brain. And Julia points out, well, yeah, you've forgotten the queue of customers, patients waiting to get into it, and it was, right there. And he kind of went round and he came back. He said, right, Stephen, so you've got it clear in your mind. Yeah. I said, when? Oh. No, don't ask me that question.
Okay. So one self-limiting belief, yes.
Yeah, before it was was it a daydream? But suddenly, with a time scale, it becomes a goal, and a real meaningful goal. And and Julia and I were kind of, we can't do it next year. So we had a very clear plan. Fiona home, financially free, build a hospital. It seemed pretty simple. That's 3 years. So 10th of October 2019 is World Mental Health Day. Okay. That's when we're opening. That's it. Simple as that. Next.
Fantastic. Clear vision, clearly driven, and it's going to happen. We can see that. Moving slightly off topic, but sort of focused on you overall. Branding overall, and to be able to get yourself out there, your message out there, and to be visible, obviously is essential, is vital in today's world, in fact, to be a success. How do you see yourself and your businesses being perceived, and what are you doing to ensure that you do have that brand integrity and it is being manifested out there?
Yeah, I think we'd see branding on sort of 2 or 3 levels. I think in terms of, we have my head office, we have Apple Property Partners, we have Hollings Homes. They all look fairly similar. So there's a family feel to our branding that we have across the piece. If you say to my website, you'll see how they look. That is key. In terms of getting out there, we use Facebook, LinkedIn the most in terms of getting the message out there. We've also, again, through coaching in terms of talking to the big media, the Channel 5, Channel 4, BBC, and ITV, and getting those out there. Just always say yes. There was a guy on a. Sometimes you pick up one sentence on a day's coaching, one thing, and you go, wow, that is brilliant. He said, well, how do you get on TV? How do you get? He said, always say yes. The answer's yes. Now, where do you want me? So I could be in Sheffield. They want me in Manchester. I'll go to Manchester. The answer is always yes. So they get to know. Why? Because if you don't say yes, they'll go to the next person on the list. You'll go, oh, he's difficult to get hold of or whatever. So if Sky need to get me up at 5 in the morning, that's fine. That's not a problem. I'll be there. They pick you up as a chauffeured car. It's quite nice, actually. So.
Very good. Now, your life obviously is quite complex. We talked about your family, the history there. We talked about all the different businesses. Now, life for me, with each letter spells out something different to me. Life, leisure, income, family, and experience. Now, how do you balance? Because you're a busy man, you're a busy family. How do you get that whole life's balance between all of those?
Without name dropping, but Randy Zuckerberg allowed us to be lopsided. We had a day with her, and she said, balanced life is almost impossible. Be actively lopsided. So there are days when you're just working, and my diary in January, in this couple of days, are just crazy. I'm going to Intelligent Millionaire Network in London, then I'm going up to Sheffield the next morning for an 11 o'clock meeting, and you're just in the zone, focused on it.
Yes. Flowing.
Before I did this tonight, I was with my daughters playing top golf in Watford because it was important to them. It was, I'm not a golfer. I had to beat them because you do, but only once. So you make time for the family and things are important. The other thing which is interesting, because my daughters are 19, 20, nearly 21, and 22, coming on 23. Mm-hmm. And I talked about making the money out of this property and then moving it to the
Sure.
charity.
Yes.
And you could say, well, actually, why don't you give it to your kids? Why don't you make them? Yeah. Now, I have no desire to do that. They'll be comfortable. But my focus for them is I want to coach them in how to make money. I want to coach them how to run a business.
Teacher man.
Yeah. So if I give them the tools to survive, that's what they need. Then it's up to them. So I will pay for coaching, training, education up to here. Yeah, I don't mind.
So,
that's worth more than me giving them. If I give them £100,000, what's it? If I give them £100,000 of coaching, training, mentoring, support, and help to make themselves successful in business, the tools, so that when I'm long gone, they've still got that know-how. They talk about it's no longer a job for life; it's a life of jobs. Or
sure.
What we're learning now is to be entrepreneurs. And that's what I'm trying to get into them.
Self-subsistence with a continual income.
So to pick on yours, yeah, balance is difficult. Balance is difficult, and we know we're going to Glasgow once a fortnight. We know, all of that. You just focus on it and make it work. And do we get it wrong? Sure, we do, all the time.
You're human. So you say instead of looking at instead of looking at it as a defined balance, it's you have everything pretty much set up in their own, call them segments, and then when you are in each one of those, whether it be family, leisure, income, property, whatever, that you're committing 150% all your focus within that time, dedicated, instead of dividing your mind out within a specific time. So it's focus at one specific time on a specific area. That's a very good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving swiftly on. Your design, we intimated where you're going with the hospital, which is 2019. And you obviously have a vision. We've been discussing your vision. You have a vision of what your success is. What does that vision look like to you in 3 to 5 years' time? And what are you doing to get there?
Okay. The danger of vision that we have is we now start to share it with people, and they go, well, yeah, that's easy. You'll do that. And we go, no, we think that's quite difficult, actually. So our vision started off, we were going to do a hospital. And we thought that was quite good. And, this is what it would look like. But we basically were going to buy a hotel and convert it.
Okay.
Country hotel, convert it. And you'd only need about 5 million to buy it, and you need a bit of money to do it, and it's great, fine. But then we meet Paul Farmer, who's the CEO of Mind. And we say, this is what we're thinking of doing. And he goes, well, yeah, that's for your first one. He said, what about your second, your third, your fourth, and your fifth? And he goes, so do one, make it work, really fine tune it, hone it into a model that is then repeatable, I should say, across the country. So our vision grows as we go, and then it gets into not only in numbers but in terms of depth. So one of the issues we have for people with mental health problems, 18 to 25-year-olds, is they've missed their education. They've not gone to university. They've been in uni, and they've missed school. So one of the things we thought we'd do, because I saw this house and it sounds small. It was only about £500,000. I could convert it into a wedding centre like that. I could then employ people who need to work on the internet or marketing or photography or in the garden or whatever. And then you could employ people to help them get back into society, give them a purpose, reason for them to get out of bed. So there's a whole sphere down there that we've not tapped into yet. And as we get deeper into this, what we can do becomes bigger and bigger. And actually, what we're doing today, because we've just gone through our 2018 plan in detail. So I now know by quarter what we're doing, by model, but by area of the whatever. And actually, we're cutting off a lot of the other to get right. What are we going to do? What are we going to achieve in 2018 that allows us to do what we want in 2019? We've got all these peripheral things that will grow on outside it, but actually the core of what is deliverable, and that is what we're focusing on at the moment. So we're actually narrowing our dream, our vision, if you like, at the moment, because it's interesting. Today I was talking to one of the producers of You and Yours, the BBC4 radio program, and I'm explaining what we're doing and would they be interested in covering what we're doing and whatever. And he goes, how do I know this isn't just hot air? How do you know you're going to be able to do anything? Where's all your money coming from? I went, money? Everyone goes, where's the money? The money will come. That's not a problem. I've always said that's the easiest thing. Clinical leadership's the biggest challenge, but the money will come. I have no doubt about that. But we're almost in a position now, for our credibility, we need to have something really concrete plans that we can bring to market, that we can talk to people about, say, right, deliver on something small and get it in and get it across the line, then you can expand and expand and expand. Then you get authority. Then you write a book about it. Then there's the film of the whatever.
Because you're not going to change the world, or you're not going to change the government by having one hospital, but multiple hospitals putting a big stream. Now you're changing people and people's lives. They're going to have to, excuse my French, shut up and listen.
Yes, spot on. Absolutely spot on. They got to listen. Yeah.
Now, this part of the show, Stephen, is where I offer you the opportunity to speak to our listeners and our viewers. How can you help them, or what can they do to help you achieve your dream, which in turn is pretty much paying back what on your vision right now? What would you like to say, or what help would you want from our viewers?
Okay, I need help in two areas, really. Number one, I am always looking for business partners to work with on projects. So if there are people out there who are going, I see what he's trying to achieve, I want to help him grow his business. The way we run our business is as if all that money we've got is our personal money. We use other people's money, but we treat it as our own. And if there are people out there that would like to come in to support in a small way or a big way, we would be very, very interested. We've got to increase the size of our business quite significantly. And one of the thoughts I had over Christmas, which is always a dangerous time to have thoughts, is if we go to two, if we've got 2 build programs, we get to a comfortable amount of money to make. What happens if we had 10? What happens if we had really big? So what's this space? We don't know. So that's one area. The second area is we are looking for a benefactor, someone who can really come on board, buys into what we're doing, understands this is a massive, massive issue in the UK. And we are looking for people of high net worth to come in, and they can be as involved as they want. They can have their name on it or not. They can, whatever they like to do. So if you know of anybody, or you're aware of anybody who operates in that sphere that has an inkling or an interest in supporting this kind of thing, then yes, please contact me. Either through Facebook, LinkedIn, applepropertypartners.com, you can find them or whatever. So those are the 2 areas you want to do. You want to really accelerate the business to bring the cash in, and we want to have we're looking for this benefactor that will be out there. Our dream, I guess, focus is when we get to raising money. I've always said to, and Julie and I are one on this, we do not want hundreds of coffee mornings, to raise £100 here and there all around the country. It would be helpful if we can just go one big bang, and then we're pretty well there. We'll be bringing other money in ourselves as well, and it'd be a great way.
There's one word that springs to mind to me for both of those needs that you have as a network. Okay,
yes.
The broader your network it is, the more powerful your network is. Your net worth. Obviously, being a vital component of business and business growth is the network. So what are you and Julia doing to grow and to stabilize your external relationships and network to give you that more that broader reach?
Yeah, and networking is a key part of it. I actually have, excuse me, just one minute. These are some of the business cards that I collected last year. A whole lot of these things. We do a lot of networking, and they all go into our database, I hasten to add. So we've got full contact with all of those. And we've only today, we've joined the Intelligent Millionaire Network. So we're in London with Vicky. We network through PIN meetings and property investment network meetings. So there's all sorts of things there that we're doing in terms of networking. We network through the training company as well, because we're often down with those. So wherever we get the opportunity, we cover an awful lot of ground between the 2 of us. So one thing we learned, this is lessons looking back. Julia and I used to go to two of us used to go to one meeting. Waste of time. We meet the same people. We get the two business cards.
Sure.
Oh, right. So next week there are 2 property network meetings in Sheffield. So I'm going to one and Julia's going to the other. Boom.
Okay.
And now we'll never go to the same network meeting because it's about being ruthlessly efficient, about getting the business guide, getting the contact, getting the thing, and getting everything also systemized. We've now got, so every one of those business cards, they'll be on Facebook, LinkedIn, and in my CRM system.
Fantastic.
And maybe all said yes or whatever, but they're all there. I know who they are, and I've got and I know when I last spoke to them because I go in and I do keep up to date with them, and it works really well.
Well, Stephen, I, as you may or may not know, I own Intelligent Millionaires Network in Cardiff.
There's a surprise, did you?
Hey, did you not know that?
Yes, I did.
Of course you did. So obviously, as a member of I'm in London, you're more than welcome to attend in Cardiff. So anytime you want to come down there and have a look, see what's going on there, come and have a word. We've got some people that are looking at expanding and extending their financial portfolio, so also be worthwhile. We've got
Adam Strong coming down.
Adam Strong is there on Tuesday. Yes.
Yeah, a fantastic guy. Yeah, that's a big coup. Really good guy.
Very excited to have. We've got some big names coming there. So yeah, absolutely, networking is what it's all about. But that's another angle of the business. I don't want to tackle it. We can focus on our own.
Interesting on networking. So you and I went to LA, and we networked a lot when we were out there. And it was the last conversation on the last day, the last person that has suddenly gone hallelujah to us and really helped us. And we just keep on. People get nervous when they're networking. They go into a room full of strangers, and what do I do? Just dive in, look them in the eye, shake hands, say your name. What do you do? What do you want? Why are you here? Boom, 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 boom. Everyone's there to network.
They're there to network as well. They're just as nervous as you are. So just ask the question. It puts everybody at ease, and everybody understands exactly where you are, and you take it from there. So brilliant. Networking, outstanding. And that leads us very neatly onto our final sector. And this is one I'm glad I've sort of left it for last for you, Stephen. It always does come up last in my list of questions anyway. But gratitude. What are you grateful for?
Whoa, you didn't know. Yeah. Okay, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for so much. My whole family go number one. And I know we've had challenges with my middle daughter, but I'm really grateful for that. I have an amazing power team that I work with, and I'm grateful for them. We live a fantastic life. We've got challenges. Everyone has challenges. And that's it. But I'm generally, basically, really happy. I have a running sore through me, which hurts, but basically, I'm a cheerful guy. Family's healthy. We're all healthy. My mum lives across the road. I have a good relative balance to my life. I'm grateful for everything, and I constantly am proud of my kids. My youngest is at Loughborough University doing economics. My eldest, now a self-employed photographer. Why? Because I want to get there, and I'm grateful for all of that. And there's so much in this world to be grateful for. You ever say glass half full, half empty? Whoa, it's always half full. And grateful for many, many, many things. I know in life, I'm a lucky guy.
That's awesome. And my usual question that I usually ask at the end, I feel has been comprehensively answered by yourself. And the question is along the lines of what you are doing in your business that is ethically right, for moral correctness, for your fellow man, or for your environment. I don't think you need to answer that. I think you've answered that unequivocally, brilliantly.
One more thing that we do.
Sure.
And this is a business thing. All right, so this is business. I think this is really important. We always pay our bills on time. We always pay. If we say we're going to pay it, we pay our bills on time. 100% of the time. And people know that, and they like to work for us. You throw it out there, it's a little thing. But, you know, I've had to spend money. It's a pain. It takes me time, effort, money, to chase it. We have a system where we always pay all our bills on time. And if you do that, people want to work for you.
Well, a very wise man once told me that his mantra for all of his life and his business success came down to one sentence. And it pretty much came down to almost exactly what you're saying there, is what you say, you've got to do.
Yeah, spot on.
And if you follow that through, that's what people end up. So, and his words were integrity beyond question.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And that, I believe, if you have that instead, and that is part and built into the core of your brand, and people are aware of that, people will do business with you. And
I'd always go with the word authentic. Be authentic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Similar sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, just thinking about the word grateful now, I've just had another thought come back on my mind, Stephen. I think I should actually say to you, and on behalf of the viewers as well, we are grateful for you, Julie, and your family for what you are doing. You are doing a fantastic job. It's not a job. It's a drive. It's a passion. It's a movement. You are changing the world. You're making the world a better place. So we are grateful for you and for what you're doing. So from my side, thank you very, very much. And thank you very much for being part of this discussion and this interview. I leave it open to you before I wrap up. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we leave you be this late evening?
Yeah, no, I thank you for those words. And the one thing, if we have one weakness, we don't celebrate success. We don't see ourselves as successful. And that's partly because success for us.
Success is in the eyes of the beholders.
It's bringing our daughter home.
I behold success.
And we won awards and, you know, all that sort of thing. To us, success is bringing our daughter home. Number one, that's so big. Number two is when I invite you to the opening of the hospital, then we're successful. Then we can have the champagne.
I have no doubt that your integrity is beyond question, and that will happen. And I genuinely, honestly look forward to that day. In fact, I'll commit right now on this show that day that happens, we can broadcast, whether live or recorded or whatever. We can bring this back and we can mention this day today, and we can be there in some way, shape, or form and help you celebrate your greatest success in life. So
you'd be very welcome. That'd be a great opportunity.
That'd be fantastic. I really look forward to that. All right, folks, everybody that's been listening in tonight, wow, that was, from my side, I'm actually a little bit of a loss for words. I think Stephen's taken most of them for this evening. But what a fantastic story. There's heart in there, there's passion in there, there's life in there. And the two key areas that I'm trying to highlight is, how is he doing all of this? And he's doing this pretty much no money down. Remember that, folks. Irrespective where you are in the world, every week when I host this, somebody somewhere around the world is able to do property, and we're talking about multi-million-pound deals here, is doing that with none of their own money. So don't make the excuse that you don't have any money. Go out there. You find the right deals with the right reasons, and the money will follow. Stephen knows that as well. And my next one the next point that I always try and angle on is the giving back and paying forward. And I don't think I need to go on with that. Stephen, you've covered that many times over in spades. So from my side, from Source My Property, my business, from our mantra, which is building returns, which is what you are doing as well. You are returning buildings, and we're creating returns out of buildings. I commend you. I thank you very much for being on my show, and I wish you all the very best, and I will catch up with you in the future. Thank you very much for joining us, Stephen.
Thank you very much. It was great fun.
No problem. Cheers then. Okay. Bye-bye.